Hello, hello. Started a second. Oh, want to check quality when you play something on YouTube these days. The quality is low or lower than normal. I don't know why. Make the microphone testing, testing. I'm using the right. Using NVIDIA broadcast. Feeling like it's not turned on. What? Then she's using the wrong microphone. And now it should be better. 1, 2. Yeah, this is better. Before I was using my webcam microphone, which is not great. This should be much better. I have to disable it entirely because sometimes it just reverts to using the camera microphone by default, which is not great. This is another monitor on top of my screen. Right. Sorry for that. Start in a second. Couple of items on the agenda. Okay, OBS is playing up. This message couldn't be sent. Anyway, I'll just get back to it and fix it in case we have to. To see it in my... The chat was sent, I don't know why the error message. Here, I'll quickly go over bodychaos.com. As per usual, this is the new tool. I don't know why loading so long. It's also loading with, you can see there, with like a different default setting. So you can, so essentially it's loading twice. You can fix that. So just get out of full screen. And we wanted to make some improvements to it, but we'll first wait for any feedback from you guys. But we're just testing it quickly. I don't know. The selector, as if the... What? Why is this selecting as if I have a keyboard depressed by mistake? Sticky finger, sticky keyboard. Right, so that one working okay. This is the default setting. It's just refreshing the page. And with this control, you can use up and down keys. Probably should specify it in the description here for you to change the number of bits. We have our noise signal. It's loading a bit too large to my liking, but yeah, we covered this one quite extensively already, so nothing to add. ECG feature extractor. Still making this mistake over here with this labeling. It's actually doing better later on. Yes, it should be marking this with the black color for QRS. Interestingly, it looks as if on this scale, as if you can see a bit of the grain over there coming through the blue. But when zooming in, it goes away. So I don't know what's up with that. Some sort of weird. Same with the red here. I'm pretty sure I can see it, but once zooming in, it's not there anymore. So it's a bit of a weird rendering thing. And the other thing to check is that I'm pretty sure the other example that we had running in LabVIEW didn't actually make these mistakes. It was labeling properly to begin with. Not doing this, I'm not sure why is this being mislabeled. Yeah, it's only doing it for the second and third there. This one is a bit off. Yeah, so essentially the first three are messed up a bit. Now I have to check the original code. And it's only doing this for the atrial tachycardia, not for the normal signal, I think. No, this is seem to be labeled correctly. Yeah, and this one is okay as well. Yeah, pretty sure we checked it before. Just hit F5 to refresh this page. Those are the default values. So this one is the synthetic EEG generator. Yes, it was covered extensively as well. Sure, what should the default be? Yeah, something like this looks like an inverse F, which will be very similar to a background EEG. So this is a good one to start with when processing EEG. So I'm actually making a comment on it. Pull it up. Someone wanted to try the EEG data generator, which is this one, with a typical EEG spectrum to see results. I'm not sure what exact results we are talking about, but yeah, this will be a typical background spectrum, and yes, you could use it to trick your detector or predictor. Um, so it could be used for testing. Someone was asking a general question, what is the purpose of the website? So yes, it is to visualize how biomedical data processing works. We are providing a free access to this all and to an API as well. So it's available on the same domain. Have to document it better, but maybe if someone wants to actually use it, we can try documenting it for them specifically. So each one of those tools is actually calling, there's another server. So one is hosting the website, and there's an API server from which the data is being fetched. So you could use that one directly. So if you don't like any of these user interfaces, you essentially can create your own. Yes, so there's, I don't know why some might think there is some sort of hidden agenda or something. Well, there isn't. Someone joined in. It's just, yeah, if you want to ask, interact, you can do it with the YouTube chat. Or I also placed the Zoom link where you could, which can be used to just have chat, like a live discussion, which is always better. And there was also a question about if someone wanted to use this with their own data. So this one I do cover an answer to this in all this text, but obviously no one actually reads it. But yes, somewhere in there I do say that if the data is in the public, if your data is in the public domain, you could just send me a link, and we could incorporate it in here with a similar tool. If that data is not available in the public domain, well, there's another website called bioniccloud.com, which requires a username and password. The button, this is a work in progress, but essentially the idea that you can have any of those tools made into a custom version with your own data. So you can just drop me a line if you like that. There was a general login for just testing that I'm happy to provide. I think it was, I forgot what it was, but I'm making changes to this at the moment. This button, currently it's working. It wasn't working with HTTPS before, similar to pioneerchaos.com, but now it should be working okay. So this one will go green if the server is actually online and up and running, which hopefully will be the case all the time. The server is now connected to fiber, NBN fiber directly, so it's much more stable than it used to be when just using copper. So we're just testing some of these tools quickly. I was just saying that someone was saying that I want to try EEG data generator with a typical EEG spectrum to see results. Not entirely sure what the question is, but this would be your typical EEG background noise. So just your spontaneous EEG activity will look like, because in the spectrum frequency domain, it will look like an inverse F noise. So similar to what we have in this inverse F noise tool. And so it will look like, so this will be your uniform white, Gaussian white, and inverse F will have this characteristic where its frequency level will drop 1 to 3 dB every octave. So essentially for 1 hertz it will be, well, this is power spectral density, but essentially in dB, so it will be minus 10, and then at 10 hertz it will be minus, what is it, 20 roughly, and so on and so forth. So this what the background EEG will look like most of the time. So this could be was actually thinking combining the two tools so that you can add. This one is starting off. Actually, I need to add more details and writing there. But this one is starting off a Gaussian white noise, and then we band pass it for each one of these frequency bands typical in the EEG analysis. But yes, you can make them narrower or wider as you wish. Yes, when you make them narrow, the amplitude goes higher. So this is what the EEG would look in a specific case. So slow wave sleep will be around theta wave, or sometimes even towards alpha, and then you'll have higher frequency components in other situations. We could actually have, before we had the BAD and Bing chat open side by side, so we can actually generate some text to add on that web page. Interesting enough, testing it prior, just putting binary chaos into, so there's BAD on the left and Bing chat on the right. Bing chat meant to be ChatGPT, but it keeps denying it, saying no, it's Microsoft. That's it. So I'm just checking my settings. So it's saying that I don't know why the bot keeps saying that. No, which one? Data review. Yeah, it didn't say it to begin with. So it says the website is divided into three main sections. Well, not really. Data processing, data review, and projects. Um, not really. I don't know where is it getting this information from? Because you would think it's a new website and there would be no contradicting results on the web. And the data processing, it could an example of how to process biomedical data such as EEG, ECG. That's correct. And fMRI, I don't have fMRI on the website. It didn't give any sources, so it's just hallucinating stuff. So that's why I'm obviously reluctant to actually use it, because when I'm asking it about something that I know I should know everything about, then it's hallucinating answers. Bing Chat says Bionic is an open project with aims to democratize biomedical data processing. Yeah, that's just from the website, I think, or the YouTube channel. Contains example of processing and reviewing biomedical data. Yeah, it's just signal processing. Yeah, it's just copy pasting. Yeah, I remember actually writing it. So that's from those sources, which is okay, and it's good. It's giving you sources as well. I thought the bot should be more precise because of the way it's being designed. But then it's also and when you ask it to generate more, it does generate more, just once more. And this is again just copy pasting from the website. And then I asked to generate more, and it says no, cannot do, start a new topic, whereas bot just keeps going essentially for forever. But then I don't know how it's actually doing it. So first it's hallucinated that I have fMRI data. No, I do not have fMRI data. Data review. This section contains example of how to review bionic data, identifying artifacts and outliers. I don't remember mentioning outliers, but okay. Project. This section I don't have a project section, do I? This section contains example of projects that have been completed using biomedical data science and engineering techniques. Well, maybe there is a section like that, but it's not actually called. There's a section called resources, and yes, it's just a bunch of links and websites that I read, or data sets that I'm looking at. So that's that. It doesn't call projects, but doesn't matter. And then it says Bionic is available resource for anyone interested in learning more about biomedical data science and engineering. The website is easy to use, and the examples are well explained. I don't know where is it getting this easy to use thing. It sounds as if as if it's made an assessment for it or something. Just make it. It's 100%. Yeah, that was 100%. This was small, easy to use. I don't know where it's a bit sounds a bit subjective. I don't know where it's getting it. That's my point. I highly recommend. So it's writing an endorsement for if you're interested in learning more about this field. I highly recommend checking out Bionic. I never wrote anything like that. Yeah. So it's making up stuff by itself. Here's some features, interactive examples, which means you can change the parameters of the analysis and see how it affects the results. That's correct. I don't remember writing anything like that, or maybe I did. This makes it easy to learn how the different techniques work. That's okay. Well explained. The example in Bionic are well explained, which makes it easy to understand what is happening. This is important for beginners who are just learning about biomedical data science and engineering. Yeah, again, don't ever remember writing anything like that, but it's nice. Should I use it as endorsement from Bart? It's free. Yes, it's free. which makes it great resource for students and researchers who are I would never say if it's free. By the way, the free bit is yeah, obviously it's not free. It takes a lot of time and resources running the server, so it's definitely not free in that sense, but it is openly available. No registration is required, um, and yes, there are a few ads, so it might be not free that way. In a way that you might have to see an ad or two. If you're interested in learning more about biomedical data and science engineering, I highly recommend checking out BioCares. It is available resource that can help you to learn more about an existing field. And then, yeah, it will just keep going. Sure, here's some details about BioCares data processing. Biomedical data, yeah, again, I don't know where it's getting fMRI from. Um, it's interesting, but yeah, just no, I'm not worried about it's lying too much. I'm just wondering where is this information coming from. The examples cover a wide range of topics, including signal processing, pre-processing, feature extraction, classification. Regression, don't have regression yet. I'm looking into it. It's almost like it's trying to kind of please me and say whatever I wanted to have, but then if it's not quite true, then it's a bit annoying to say the least, and misleading. Data review. This section contains example of how to review biomedical data, such as identifying artifacts and outliers, artifact detection, outlier detection. Didn't have actually data quality assessment. Well, yeah. Don't remember actually writing those specific terms, so again, it would be really interesting where is it getting it from. This section contains example of projects that have been completed using biomedical data science and engineering techniques. The project cover a wide range of topics, including PCA, okay, medical imaging analysis, track this kind. No. Yeah, it's a bit misleading to say the list. Biocast is available recently. Anyone blah blah. It's already said that the website. It's already said that. Yeah, it just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Learn at your own pace. Okay, it's again. I never wrote anything like that, so I'm just curious where is it getting this rhetoric from. So Biocast is a self-paced learning resource, so you can learn at your own pace and focus on the topics that are most interesting to you. Hands-on experience. The interactive examples give you the opportunity to get hands-on experience in different techniques in biomedical data science and engineering. And this bit, it yeah, I remember it said this a couple times before, and it keeps insisting on it, that Biocast community is a great place to connect with other learners and share ideas. So I wish there was some sort of a community integration at the moment. It's just on social media like LinkedIn, YouTube. Obviously, we are on YouTube right now, but there's no. Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, the community is not on the website, but there is a community around Bionic Chaos. Hopefully, sorry, there's like what quite a lot of followers on YouTube and LinkedIn. And again, just repeating the same thing again, and then goes even more details. I don't know. There's no. It's amazing how you can insert one word essentially, and it will generate all this stuff. You have to be careful with it because it's not necessarily that any of it is true. So if we ask Bing, like cross check Bing for what the bot is saying. I think it's being chat. Yeah, it was doing this before as well. It's giving me a bit of an. I don't know. I'm not a native English speaker, obviously, as you can tell. But does it give me attitude? I think we need to move on. Exclamation mark. What? Why? And this one allows allow. And keep giving me. Keep saying. I think we need to move on. It's a bit of a strong language, isn't it? With an exclamation mark. Why would it like say what? Uh, yeah, it's not very uh, friendly. Obviously, insisting on this topic because that's what we cover. But I'm also curious as to what got into it. It's really odd. What? Yeah, you can see how in the question it will start hallucinating results by, in this case as well, like repeating itself. I don't know why it's yeah essentially giving me was it being chat giving me attitude. I don't know why. And Bard is much more obedient. Will keep generating, but then will generate a lot of incorrect stuff. So what are these code snippets? Data processing this section contains example of how processing biomedical data. Examples cover a wide range of time include okay, feature extraction, classification, regression. This section contains examples. Just is it just the same? Data quality of data review projects. So where is it getting all this stuff from? Definitely do not mention drug discovery ever. They don't even mention BCIs. And they just keep repeating the same thing over and over again, how great it is. Join the community. There's no, unfortunately, there's no option to join the community. I mean, the community is on here, YouTube or LinkedIn, Twitter, and the like. Right. Then it's, yeah, it just keeps, what? Keeps generating the same thing over and over again. But then it's changing topic slightly. Hey, Tony. Oh yeah, thanks for joining in. Realizing that the comments are on I have my phone above my screen, but it's too small for me to even read the comments. Probably need glasses or something. But yeah, I have to read it in my OBS screen. There's, by the way, like a Zoom link if you want to join in and actually chat, like for a live chat, for an actual chat. Check it. It should be still running. Yeah, it's still running. Yeah, the sound is working. So just testing. We kind of finished testing this site. Which ones we went over? The EG generator. I was just checking that it's working okay. And yeah, if anyone comments or tries it, we could make improvements to it as well. If there's any specific requests, we can definitely address those. So looked at the feature extractor. I said that there's a bug in the first couple of detections. The first 3 detections are essentially mislabeled, and I don't entirely know why does that happen. And this is only for the abnormal EEG. So normal EEG is fine. It's labeling correctly the P wave in blue, QRS in black, and T wave in red. But for this abnormal EEG sample, it's mislabeling those 3. I also guess, I'm not actually 100% sure that this is how long it takes for the algorithm to kick in for like training purposes. The Levy example doesn't actually explain any of it, so I have to look at the code more closely. I'm pretty sure with these measurements I got rid of so many numbers after the decimal point, but they're still there, so I have to check that as well. Just refresh this for a sec. So this is how it comes up as default with normal EG and was it 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds of EG after the labeling have started. So it won't seem to work okay. Yes, we can improve this interface a lot. So we can just have a scroller there. And also, yeah, put those in a to-do list, but I didn't have time to actually do it. And these measurements, ideally they would... well, you can move with this button, but it's not very intuitive. And ideally these numbers, all the metrics will be measured for this specific window. So what about the 5 seconds instead of the whole 30-second window, which is the whole data in this case. In this abnormal ECG, it's actually labeling correctly as opposed to tachycardia, where it's messing up the first 3 peaks. So that ECG feature extraction was checked in verse F transform. Can switch between linear to logarithmic. We can add the sinusoid, which is turned off by default. So one will be double the noise amplitude, and we can change its frequency. Also, this probably could be a slider, but it's off, it's 0. The sound amplitude is 0 by default, so Eh, so not a big deal. I mean, that's not the main purpose of this thing. There's someone running outside. Yeah, you can switch between uniform, a Gaussian white. Probably should add a final calculation of the signal to noise ratio to this, because it's seem to be a much higher for if settings being the same. So same noise amplitude, same signal amplitude, same frequency. Then switching between uniform and Gaussian, you can see this a reduction in signal to noise ratio, and even lower with inverse F. Um, so you can barely see the 1 Hz in it. Same on the uh, spectral power spectral density plot. And yeah, so potentially I might add a note here too, if I remember, if someone reminds me about it, to add the SNR measurement to this would be nice to have, because then you can compare the SNR between the different noise types. We have this wavelet compression. Oh, and I actually labeled this video as so that this a wavelet compression. It's an image compression. You can change your number of beats. Why did it do that? There's a bit of a glitch. In this particular image, there's a mammogram image, and once you only get down to 7, you can also use keyboard keys up and down, also left and right, to change the beats, the number of bits, and this will be compressed uh, too much, to the point where you can't see reconstruct the original image is almost impossible to reconstruct. And once you get up to, was it 7, 8 bits, you start seeing the same features, and yes, in this image will be much reduced if you actually save it. But and the same settings might not work for another image. There's a thing. What? Why? Seems like I have a keyboard stuck or something. When I change this, I don't know why it's selecting stuff which is not intended. Yeah, so say for this image, you can probably go low with the number of bits and still preserve the original the features. It also will depend what, how accurate you want it to be. That's that tool. And you can select different wavelet transforms, different types of wavelet. What they called actually names to those things, but I have to actually bring it in from Levy. But there were like too many of these things. So this is where the API server is stored. Just checking. This is what the original thing looks like. And yeah, those are the different wavelet types. So you have HAR, all the standard wavelet shapes, which you can select from and see what difference those make. And you can see it more a difference with reduced number of bits. So it's kind of, you can optimize the wavelet shape to show you preserve certain features of the image, but one of those things that you have to be really careful with, because you need to be either an expert in looking at mammograms to know what's important to preserve, so or not reduce the number of bits too much. Yeah, you can see the difference the wavelet makes. So essentially this will be a number of wavelets. It will just be stored as wavelets instead of the actual image. I mean, the saving of the image would be your... So we have the source code for this thing. Will be your number of bits, the wavelet. So it will be the coefficients of the analysis. So you could just store, I guess you could just store the wavelet coefficients. So it will be the discrete wavelet transform coefficients, and then you could reconstruct your image from it. And this should be much more efficient way of storing images, but yes, but you can lose some important data, so have to be careful. Yes, it's essentially a bunch of filters that are being applied. And we were looking at another example of this, of image compression, but using PCA, principal component analysis. So in this case, we haven't implemented it yet, but that will be coming up next on bionichaos.com. Hopefully there will be videos around it as well. Not just the super long live streams, but more concise videos. So this will be an image component using PCA. So yeah, we never read descriptions, do we? Too much text. We just try the tool. So essentially, in this case, yeah, it's not a great user interface, but we take an original mammogram image, X-ray image, and we do a principal component analysis on it, and then we decide how many rows of the principal component. So in here, you could see this one actually going all the way to 256, but once you reduce the raw index to, oops, it's auto scaling. I have to remove auto scaling. So once you go down to like 30 and stuff, you see that most of the information in the first 30 rows. So if you reduce the number of rows below 30, you should then start seeing a difference. So yeah, you can see how it becomes a bit blurry when you go down to the 10, 12, 10. So this is with 5 rows to keep. So this is the coefficients of the PCA, the principal component analysis. So obviously in this case it's super blurry, lost all the information in the image, but with around 10, 12 or so, 15, you get probably enough information. So if you wanted to compress, you probably leave it at 25, 30 for compression purposes. And this image, once exported and saved, should be much smaller than the original one. You could also just save the PCA analysis, the variance and the weight, so the multivariate vector output, and then use those two for reconstruction. um, or just generate the image. So this is a matrix multiplication. So it's multiplying the output of the PCA with the limited number of rows. So in this case 30. So it will be these two arrays should be 30. Why there's so many? Length. Sorry. So if you take the output of this, this should be 30. 30 of these arrays, and you multiply them with another 30 arrays. Is it? Right, those one in. One of them is the different the matrices. The arrays are in different shape. One is horizontal, one is vertical. And right, because this one is taking the length in another domain in the so they're both 2D arrays, but different shape. One is horizontal, one is vertical, and it's doing a matrix multiplication between them to get the reconstructed image out. And oops, and this equation will be the measurement of the peak signal to noise ratio, which is a log 10 log. There's an equation for it. There was actually another. Actually, this one had an actual equation. Yeah, PSNR in a standalone equation. So computes peak to peak signal to noise ratio of the reconstructed image. But essentially, inside it had the same equation. No explanation. Ideally, will this be just a math works like a MATLAB equation? Because you could just do a quick comparison here with entering the math script, not math script, MATLAB. You could do either math script, or insert the MATLAB code, just for comparison's sake. And this one, so it says math script is not recommended for new designs. And essentially, I think one should use MATLAB script. Yeah, which is a more comprehensive version. But for this to run, you need to keep MATLAB running, MATLAB open, which is not good for me because, it's a bit heavy. So back to close this source code for a sec. Hopefully by the end of the week, we wanna implement this one on the site. I have a better version of it as well. And to do that, first thing we can remove the while loop. We don't need it. We also don't really need the error message because this will be eventually an API, a web API, and if it doesn't work, it will come up with the 404 or something, not accessible. something like that. If it's actually not working. That will probably only the case if the server goes down, but yeah. I think actually the server haven't been down in a while. I actually kept monitoring it with Python, and it's been real good. So I'm just keep pinging. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but keep pinging the Bunny Chaos website, and it's essentially always giving me 200. I ping it every 5 minutes using this code, simple script, and it's doing the job. And because before I was having a lot of dropouts when I was connected to Copper, but now the server is connected to fiber directly to the server, so the dropouts have stopped, which is great. So NBN can work efficiently if only it took some time to get it done, but yeah. So in this case, we just copied this thing from, this is what turns the code into an API. Place it in here. And this thing we need to what's called the pattern. This is the pattern of the VIs, all the inputs and outputs. We normally use something like this one is a standard one, and we have to this Levy web service request. We have to turn it into an input of the VI. Then we have more inputs such as this a number of rows to keep. This is going to be an input, and because we're turning it into a web request, API request, a GET request, we might want to remove spaces. I know it's not something you would normally want to deal with, but it's a good idea. So just test this one. We want, well, essentially all of this stuff as output, including PSNR. So we go, this will be our original image. So it will be reconstructed image, a principal component scores, and PSNR. So we'll have essentially one input to the API. We'll select the number of rows to keep, and it will spit out a original image, reconstructed image, and the principal component scores, which is the output of the PCA function. This is a wicked way of doing power of 2 into a power of 2. Even though there is a square. Would one of them be more efficient or something? I suspect this will be more efficient just so it's neater. I don't like when the other one is being used. This division, again, something like this, if this equation is not too complicated. By the way, let me know if there's any questions in the chat or comments, or you can join the Zoom live as well. But yeah, if an equation becomes a bit more complicated than this, better to use just text-based stuff. I mean, this would be the limit for it, for how complicated an equation gets before you start using So this is the original X-ray image. So those are the raw numbers for the image, by the way, which is not great because I can't select another image. Actually have to change this function to be able to select other examples as well. And here's the same thing again. It's just meant to be into the power of 2. So change that. It shouldn't make any difference, but just for the sake of clarity. Yeah, don't like how. Yeah, you can clean all this stuff automatically, but I don't know if you're familiar with electronics design boards like Altium and whatever. Yeah, they sometimes not doing a great job when this wasn't too bad. Yeah, so it went from this to that, and this bit cleaner, isn't it? If we also, yeah, so it's a bit, we don't like wires that go backward, so we do this to correct it. So just probably clean this up later. It's not very important. But yes, it is a bit nicer. This is a log 10, a logarithmic base 10. That's correct. It's multiplied by 10. Don't know why. For the PSNR value. And again, as I mentioned, you can automatically clean this up, but yeah, so this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Wasn't great. Hey Tony, can you hear me on probably now both YouTube and Zoom? Let me just check if my stream. 1 sec. I can hear you as well. That's good. Now, just if it's okay by you, can I send it? This is my Zoom. Should be. Let me just double check. Yeah, this is my Zoom meeting window. If it's okay by you, I'll send the. Your sound will be in the stream now as well. Hopefully, it's okay by you. Is it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Cool. Yeah, so I can hear you as well. And
Because
are you
yeah,
doing
I have
something similar?
no, this is all brand new to me.
All right. Are you using MATLAB mostly, or?
Right now I haven't gone into MATLAB, just only
Right.
Python. And then
Yeah.
next semester is gonna be R.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really good. We could make a good team because I'm only doing MATLAB and LabVIEW, but I really wish I could transfer a lot of this stuff into Python and R, but I don't know how long would it take.
Okay. Only thing I know is PCA
Yeah.
in this. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think it'll be easy to transfer over because of
Right.
the amount of libraries.
Right. So yeah. So I'm wondering, like, say, yeah, if I wanted to turn this into Python, well, yeah, there's a few problems. One is this data, the image is actually stored in this. It's not an image. It's not reading an image. It's reading an array, and it's kind of common, to LabVIEW and MATLAB, whatever, to just do your matrix stuff and store things as in their own data format. But yeah, I want to change this actually. Actually, the other tool, so this one is actually reading from. It's the other function. Yeah, it's not great either. Ideally, it would just read from an image file. But yeah, so in Python it probably will work even better,
Yeah. I don't know how optimized it will be, but it's definitely possible.
right? No, I mean it's definitely possible. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I mean the main question, yeah, it's definitely like anything is possible. But yeah, questions like say something that will take me in LabVIEW like I don't know a day. I would suspect it will take me like a week in MATLAB, and it will probably take me like I don't know how long in Python. So that's my kind of that's the equation that I have in my mind.
Okay, yeah, I see. Mhm.
I was comparing some things with MATLAB before. Is this other tool? So this is all already out there. In
Hmm.
it's originally a lot of so yeah, I was telling someone before. Levy also had this biomedical toolkit back in 2014, 15, and they kind of discontinued it. So there's just some examples left from it. So
Ah,
that's what
okay.
I'm using. But yeah. But yes, ideally, yeah, R. I was always thinking R. And again, I don't know how long it will take to convert. How different is it from MATLAB? Do you reckon?
Well, I haven't tried MATLAB, but
Right,
everybody tells me R is much easier than Python.
right,
So depending on if you can code in C-based kind of languages,
right.
it shouldn't take too long, but R would definitely be much faster.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought of it as like faster or slower. But you mean to learn, like the learning curve?
Oh, yeah, yeah, the learning curve
Yeah,
and actually just taking everything from MATLAB and implementing into a different language.
right,
The time frame for R will be much shorter from what I've heard.
right. No, that's should put it to a test. But yeah, uh, yeah, because I was testing some things like in comparing different packages, and they were giving me different results. So that's
Hmm.
another thing that yeah, kind of have to watch out for, I guess. So
Yeah.
in my mind, it's always good to compare, couple of them. Yeah, this entropy analysis thing, yeah, was giving me different. So this jumping between, oops, I don't know why. Yeah, between say EEG, ECG, and you get your measurements, um, your confidence limits for the mean, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis, which was fine, and then the entropy calculation. So this is the one from LabVIEW. If I actually turn it on, I get this super large numbers,
Hmm.
and then I realized, but you could also change between like Shannon entropy, threshold entropy, and different types of entropies, which the MATLAB function didn't have. Well, actually, anything except the energy entropy gives you. Uh, these ones give you like the same threshold, and sure gives you the same result. Yeah, Shannon gives you a bit lower. Yeah, but then I just figured that whoever implemented the LabVIEW entropy equation, my understanding is they didn't do calibration, which is kind of important.
That's Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Or they didn't actually do the calculations themselves.
Well, right. I believe they did the calculation correctly. I do have like the source code for it, and it looks correct. I haven't actually checked the
Hmm.
math for it, but they copied it from some textbook. I'm just saying they didn't
Ah,
the stages. So sometimes they will do things. I noticed some things like this before, where they will do the same thing, but in different stages, in
yeah.
different order, and yeah, get slightly different results. But in this case, yeah, the numbers are way off because yeah, it's just. The one in LabVIEW is not calibrated, and the one in MATLAB that I have, it's actually implemented in LabVIEW. So it just like literally, it comes down to the actual equation. So I literally just like copy paste the equation
Hmm.
into a LabVIEW window, so I don't have to actually run MATLAB. I mean, it's a it's a textbook equation,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's one of the problems with software engineering is when you go through different languages,
yeah,
the way they calculate numbers can be slightly different.
yeah,
And depending on what you're doing, you could have the same code basically, but when you transfer it to a different language, the values you get after calculating the numbers can be vastly different.
yeah. Yeah, it's amazing because you would
Yeah.
think like in a mathematical equation, like someone will say that say the order or the way you store a variable, if it's how many decimal points or whatever would not matter. But the reality is it will. It sometimes
Yeah.
for some reason does matter. And I don't think even like mathematicians can explain why you made this change of moving it from like double precision to single precision and all of a sudden you see this big difference, and mathematically there shouldn't be, but it is there. I mean, you can show it. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Definitely knocked my confidence about transferring transferring something like MATLAB to Python because I don't know the how it actually calculates numbers.
right. Well, I mean, yeah, in both, yeah, Levi is pretty good at it. A lot of this, yeah. So say in this example, no, actually the other example, actually I just noticed like a difference between those two, and it not meant to be. Yeah, the wavelet number sometimes in here it will be stored in a double precision array somewhere, and obviously it doesn't need to be, but yeah. So yeah, I can do a lot of improvement. Yeah, by default, LabVIEW is storing everything by default in double precision arrays, and I kept switching them uh, into single precision. Just because when I turn it into API, I get like all these numbers after the decimal points that I don't really need. But so in theory, the API should be a bit faster, but I haven't actually tested it.
Oh, okay.
But somehow, yeah, because those images are mostly eight. I think they're like 8-bit images. I don't know why they put them in a double precision over here. Just someone didn't pay attention. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure those like each number in that. Oh, come on, can't even. Yeah, those are just yeah. Don't even yeah. You could do yeah, you can turn them into um like a single or even and well, they don't even have decimal points, so you could turn them into 16-bit or even 8-bit, probably even unsigned. Yeah, want to check if I turn it into an unsigned byte 8-bit array. If the interior, the website should interior work faster and everything,
Hmm.
but I haven't tested it yet. But yes, when you convert some of the things, yeah, if all of a sudden, like now I'm looking at a section of the array and it doesn't have any decimal points, well, it doesn't mean that all of it. Maybe there are values with decimal points, and I just haven't noticed. But yeah, I can test it actually. Like see if. So I don't know, but yeah, but whoever designed this equation put all this array into double precision, just to be safe, kind of thing. But yeah,
Hmm.
can get rid of it probably.
Yeah, the UI is pretty cool. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. Once I used something like this, I couldn't go back into text based anything. And yes, you can add any. There's a lot of problems with it. I'm not endorsing it by any shape or form, but you could now with this version you can put how to spell. Yeah, you can put a Python node as well, and I haven't figured. There's like a Python session and a Python. Right. You meant to have this, and then you meant to close it as well. Close the session. So you go like you have your session in, session out. You should have the number for the session, and this one will be. Oh, it's not clickable, is it? What? How do you? Anyway, I never. Yeah, they're not native. Like so, if you're doing like your Python thing or MATLAB within. Right. Here you meant to have the function name. So you type your Python function name, and yeah, I never tried this before, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend those. Yeah, it's working better if you do things like in native equations.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had the
Uh,
source code for that, yeah, there will be a lot of like like here they say obviously you can't use it on FPGA targets, but I think I'll have trouble using it as a web API as well,
mhm.
because it will mean that like Python will have to be like running in the background all the time. And
Yeah.
isn't Python you can have like the .py file, but you also have this other extension that essentially when you run it, the script is running in the background on your machine. I forgot what it's
Yep.
called.
I don't remember the exact name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Let me see.
there's like a pi with another letter or something like pi m or pi w or something. Anyway,
Yeah, I doing object-oriented programming.
I
I wish I could just design a chart to connect everything together.
right. I can always ask. I had like the what is it? Is Bing Chat a Chat GPT or
Yes, ChatGPT.
yeah? But it keeps telling me that it's so I have those two like open side by side. Was it bad? Uh, it kept making up stuff about my own thing. So like I kept asking question about like no, not this one, bionic chaos or whatever, and it kept making up stuff. And I was like, I really wondering where is it taking it from.
The
I
way
don't
I
know where.
understand ChatGPT is it doesn't take information from anywhere. It's just
It's just making stuff up.
predicting. Yeah, yeah. It's
But
just
it's almost
predicting
like
which
it's
words to
almost if
come.
I had like an 18-year-old like intern or something, and it wouldn't like sometimes it feels like, and it's really like one it wants to like please you and or say something that you would like to hear, and it's just like trying too hard. Like it's the so you know how in this Bing thing you can set which one you which if you want it to be more creative or less creative or more accurate, and I felt the
Hmm.
part meant to be more accurate considering it's not it's a trained neural net, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
but the ChatGPT is not. It's the other one. I forgot the name. But then
yeah.
yeah, but surprisingly, Bart just keeps it made up a couple of things which I'm really curious about, like where it actually got it from. Say I never mentioned fMRI data. There's the EG, ECG. It says fMRI. Never had fMRI, and then also it keeps saying that say this thing Barncast is valuable risk. I never wrote anything like that. I'm just curious, like where is it getting this stuff from? Like it's a valuable resource for anyone interested in learning more about biomedical data science and engineering. The website is easy. Yeah, it's like making like a subjective assessment of saying it's easy to use. Well, how do you know? Did you can it use the website? Like
Hmm.
So
It's
obviously, as you say, it's
it's
no one wrote it. It didn't take it from any source. Like you will ask it for sources, it will actually not give them to you. I heard it's actually sometimes will make up sources, so it will actually make up
yeah.
references and things, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah, it will say
There's a
that it's.
lawyer who got in trouble in the States recently.
Oh, I can so see if even me reading it, like say if this was like a commercial project, right? And I was reading something like this, and I would be saying then, and I'm not absolutely clear that I'm not actually saying it. It's like I'm just reading something another entity have said. But yes, I'm like misleading and saying things that are just factually incorrect and so on and so forth. So yeah, I wouldn't use it for any essentially for anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
I cannot believe a lawyer tried to use it, and it made up references. So
right,
he told the judge, he showed screenshots, and he tried to show, look, these are the references from ChatGPT. It's really
right.
crazy.
So I wonder what it will say. Which is Python better than uh, R? And ask this guy the same thing. And it keeps lying to me that the Bing AI, which is and it's giving me it was giving me attitude before. Like I kept asking something, and it goes like, "Sorry, I think we need to move on." I was like, "What?" I think we need to move on. I was like, and it keeps telling me
You're
the same
asking
thing.
hard-hitting questions.
And now I'm asking like a new question, and it's giving me attitude, saying thanks for the conversation. And I haven't reached the 20 because originally when I wasn't signed, I don't know. Originally it was only giving me like five back and forth interactions.
Hmm.
Now it's giving me 20, and I'm only at 13 at the moment. And it's already telling me like thanks for the conversation. I've reached my limit. Will you hit new topic, please? And it keeps like it's a bit of a. And I changed changed the topic. So like, why is it? Whereas Bart is like the opposite. If I say, so I wanted to, where was it? Here. So Python and R are both programmed, yes, their own strengths and weaknesses, yeah, whatever. General purpose language, yes. No. Why is it no? Statistical programming, what? So how is Python not a statistical programming language? It should have said that there would be like what is it called, add-ons or what is this thing in
Yeah,
Python? Yeah,
libraries.
yeah, libraries. It should have said that it has libraries for it. That was
Hmm.
it says Python is good for data visualization, but R is excellent. I was like, okay, it's a bit odd. Community support, large and active, large and active. I'm pretty sure there will be more community support for Python than R, but doesn't matter. And both have
That's
like
what I think.
moderate learning curve. And it's like okay, but and interesting enough,
Yeah.
if you keep just typing more, it will keep generating essentially forever, and it will never give you, well, at least to me, Bart never gave like well here, yeah, this is interesting because before it kept generating more information like on the same topic, but now it's kind of saying, oh, like move on, like ask me a question kind of thing. So yeah, it's just bizarre. Like and some
It
of the things
is.
I used it a couple times like in the live stream, and those things would never, you could never regenerate because say, yeah, so you're saying Bing chat meant to be chat GPT, right?
Hmm.
And it will, yeah, I asked it like in different ways, and it kept essentially keeps well is well let's make it clearer, is being, because it calls itself being chat, whatever. Being chat is OpenAI ChatGPT, and ask Bard the same thing. Ah, it keeps saying okay, it wants me to hit new topic. And yes, and here they give you an option within conversation style, like more precise, balanced, or more creative. So obviously, I always choose more precise. And yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
and Bart is also saying no, that Bing ChatGPT is not OpenAI. And interesting enough, if you just go, yeah, and Bing said that it's not OpenAI. But interesting enough, if you just go to your regular search, I once had like in Bing search, I've typed in is Bing Chat OpenAI ChatGPT, and it said like big letters yes, and gave me multiple sources. And one of the sources was like Microsoft's press release. So like,
Wow.
so they're like, I don't
That's
know
I think
where.
that's where I heard it from.
I don't care. It's just curious. Like, why would it? And now they obviously changed this one as well. Like, no, but in a certain question, when you ask it, is HB, yeah, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I think it's the phrasing of the question, because Bing also started giving me attitude when I kept pushing on the same question. It then said, "Oh, I can't discuss this. I don't want to talk anymore," kind of thing.
It's so interesting. I haven't tried Bing
Yeah,
Chat
this one
or
is
yeah,
Bing is Bing using OpenAI chat. Oops, OpenAI ChatGPT, and it says like big letters yes, and that's their own search, right? And it's giving me whatever, two sources. I think before it gave it like 5 or 6, whatever, but doesn't matter. And then if I go, so start new topic, because sometimes it gets upset or something. Is Bing using OpenAI ChatGPT? And ask Bard the same thing. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to discuss the technology behind Bing's chat mode. Is there something else you can help me with? And and Bard goes, is Bing using OpenAI ChatGPT? And it goes, yes, Bing is using OpenAI ChatGPT. Microsoft announced it. So why? So these things like the Bing chat will just keep lying about it for no particular reason. Obviously, the bizarre thing about it is no one asked it to do it. It's like why? And it just by itself decided that this is like a sensitive topic and I don't want to talk about it without. It's crazy. But
yeah, I
it
just
just gives you a glimpse into like what else is wrong with it, kind of thing. Just a very
hmm
specific example of like why you shouldn't be using it. Unless you want to get like sued or something.
it's so interesting. I thought this was common sense, but apparently not.
Yeah. And it's sometimes interesting like how what's OpenAI Codex? What's Codex? But sometimes the questions that it
What?
will suggest are actually more interesting than the answers themselves. With the suggestions here. Because I'm just trying to, yeah. It's interesting because sometimes it would you could not reproduce the same answer as well. So yeah,
hmm Okay, I gotta download Microsoft Edge now and
I
mess
don't know.
around.
I was accessing it in Skype. Like I'm still using Skype. I mean, Skype they
Uh,
actually pretty good for business and stuff. They actually do target business clients and the like. Uh, and they also integrated like the Bing chat into it, and you can even add it into your chat. So say you're chatting with someone, and you can add the bot as a third person thing to chat with in like
that's
a
so
group chat
cool.
in a group chat.
That's so cool. I thought they weren't working on Skype anymore. I thought they just moved it onto Teams
Oh
or
yeah,
Zoom.
no. Skype is for some reason they kept it as a separate thing. They never integrated it really in anything else. But they went strong on it for business clients. But yeah, so they have like Skype for business and the like.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's another thing I have to look into now.
And yeah,
Because
and I was chatting with the
yeah.
bot, but you can feel it's like it's a different bot. You know what I mean? Like it's if you ask it the same questions,
Mhm,
whatever, it responds in a very different way, and it doesn't give you like any. So actually, the Bing chat is better in terms of giving you references and stuff. I think once again in a live stream, it gave me a reference that just didn't exist. Like when I was actually asking about like EEG and paper, so it gave me like papers and stuff, and one of the papers just was nowhere to be found. So I don't know if it just made it up
mhm.
or the link or I couldn't find it. But yeah, so I wanted to use it originally like to put some because the website doesn't have much text or well, it doesn't have any text at all kind of thing. But then the Google crawlers and things they have trouble identifying like what the page is. I know it
Yeah.
because they put really bad. I do have on this one use the ad blocker in Firefox, but normally I will have an ad down the bottom, and I know they can't identify what is it about because they'll put like really bad advertisement, like not relevant to the content,
Mhm.
which I know they can do better. So I think I just have to add more text at the bottom of the page or something for them to be able to detect what's the topic is. So that's what I was thinking using the AI for, but but it takes you longer to just test if it's any. I think I used in one of the tools.
Yeah,
I did use one sentence. Yeah, I need more text at the bottom of the thing, but
it's exactly how I feel. Just if I don't know the topic, I'm so afraid of using AI. But if I have some understanding of what I'm doing, I
yeah,
have more confidence in using that kind of stuff.
right. No, one of them was pretty good because it will actually give you legit references like this. This is I took it from somewhere. Uh, but yeah, if even if there's just the fact that it can just make up a reference, so you have to be super careful with it.
Hmm.
I was just saying, like, why would it do it? Like that's what I'm trying to get.
Uh,
Because obviously no one like asked it to, no one told it. Yeah, it's just bizarre. Yeah, it's kind
it,
of might want to wait
I
until
feel,
they improve it a bit.
yeah, yeah, but it's fun to watch
Yeah.
other people
Oh, I
try to
think
use
it
it.
will be fun to watch how both of these things they will just bury themselves in all sorts of lawsuits and copyright claims and what's not. I think that will
Hmm.
be fun. Yeah, that will be fun to watch. But
Yeah, I agree with you. For like research and stuff, it's too dangerous.
hmm, unless you want to like keep generating this, uh, yeah, keep generating crap, kind of like, yeah, I don't know. How would you
Yeah,
use
there's people who actually do that for fun. They generate random crap just to mess with the AI.
it? No, so surely, like when I ask it like something about EEG, ECG, or whatever, it will give me legit sources because I know, it could have given me some really bad sources and things, but because even Google, say Google Scholar, you have a lot of like, well, let's put it mildly, not so great journals that it sometimes gives you in the search results, but.
Yeah, that's what I
So I don't know
heard.
if they do some. They have their own like ranking system and the like. So
Oh,
that's actually what I will be more interested in. It's like when it gives me, say, my asking about the EEG or something, and it gives me results. Then how did it rank the references? So yeah, so Bard is generating stuff much quicker. It's like it's generated in no time. All this, and yeah, it looks legit, but it didn't provide any sources. I think it can just write sources and it will generate some. And yeah, and the what? Yeah, and then it goes. Oh, I don't know where. So where did you get the answer from? What? Yeah, it says no. I'm unable to help you with sources. Like what? Yeah, this one is Wikipedia healthdirect.gov.au. It's interesting that it's used .gov.au, not the American like NIH or something. And this one American,
yeah.
Mayo Clinic, and it's only generated like much smaller. Just what is it? 2 sentences, 3 sentences,
Hmm.
and Bot generated all this much quicker. I think it's also because I actually asked it before, so maybe it's like sitting somewhere in front, on an SSD. The response was. I think maybe if somebody asked like a similar something, it will just generate it quicker. But I don't know. No one knows.
Yeah, it's so, I'm really curious on where Bard is going
Yeah, I'm surprised
because
it's
yeah,
not
for some
giving me
reason,
sources. Is it giving me this Google It button that doesn't actually? It gives right. But why? Why? Yeah, yeah. But you can just type more, and it will keep generating more. Sometimes. Ah, no, it's talking about cortical sources. The cortex is the main source for EG. Yeah, but where did you get it from? Yeah, that's just totally bizarre. Yeah, now Bing is actually generating more when I ask it to generate more, whereas before it said enough is enough.
I wonder if they know if you're on Bing, if you're using Bing, and if you have another tab open on Bard.
Yeah, that's why the Bard is in Chrome and Bing is in Edge.
Ah,
Because for Bard you had to actually be signed in your Google account and actually activate it because there's some sort of consent form.
hmm,
And being, I'm pretty sure before I was signed in, it only gave me like 5 prompts that I can do in one session. And now, for some reason, it increased it to 20. And I know originally they did the 5 because it kept hallucinating, when you keep generating. So when you keep doing more, 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 yeah, it doesn't like it
hmm,
because it's the algorithm knows that it's with every consecutive when it's generating more, it has more chances of saying something uh, not right.
incorrect.
Yeah, so then it's. But now for some reason it kept going. Whereas bot generated a whole heap, like just to begin with. And again, it doesn't want to give me sources. When I ask for EEG with sources, it's now talking about cortical sources. So I don't get it. Like if I copy this to, like, if I use this on my website and I say, if I write a blog and I say, Bard and Bing Chat were used to generate this content, blah blah. Or if I said they were partially used to generate this content, like so. Or even if I just copy paste it as is, like if I take any of those paragraphs, like it's nowhere to be found It's not on. Um, yeah, it's like it's unique. It's just generated like here and now
Hmm.
because it will depend on what I asked for before and things like that. So copyright
Yeah,
wise, like, do I hold copyright to this now, or do they still do?
it's interesting. I wonder, I wonder if you can quote ChatGPT or Bard
Ah,
as
so
like a source.
interestingly, right? So in here, and I think they added this later. So if I actually copy, first you can export into PDF, text, or Word. But even if you copy, and I was copying it to my like just a Word document, and it will what? This is so bizarre. It's behaving very different. Like, ah, yeah. If I copy this one, right. So it tells me. Um, it copies the text. It has the references like Wikipedia, Help Direct, whatever, and it also says source conversation with Bing and today's date, which is interesting.
Wow.
So I assume if I use it, I have to leave that sentence there. Like if I say use it on my blog or website or something, I would just probably leave that sentence unless I paraphrase that. So if I say mixed and match these tools, I could just say, this blog or this article was written with an aid of, and then you specify whatever. But yeah, it's because if I copy this one as a standalone uh, paragraph, it then doesn't have that source section. No, it's just copying the paragraph itself. It's only this first one is
Hmm.
obviously like a different one. And interestingly,
Hmm.
like there's actually three sources. There's Wikipedia, Health Direct, and Mayo Clinic. But in the text itself, there's only one and two. There's no third one. So this one is Wikipedia, and the second one is Health Direct, the Australian one, and it says that it's taking
There's no
information
Mayo
from Mayo
Clinic.
Clinic, but it's not specifying like which sentence is it. Is it the first one? There's no third, and it's doing it a lot. That's a very common thing for it to. Yeah, this one asking for who owns OpenAI, and this is not even correct. OpenAI is
What does it say?
51%. That OpenAI is owned by a group of investors, including Microsoft, and then two names. Whereas OpenAI is actually owned by OpenAI, because they hold the public releases that they hold 51% of the shares.
Yeah.
OpenAI. So this is also incorrect. So it's denying that Bing Chat is using ChatGPT, and also misleading regards like the ownership of OpenAI. Because I assume these two names are Microsoft. Because what's his
Hmm.
name, the founder of OpenAI? The one he had like a what is it, congressional hearing.
Uh, only
Altman.
person I remember. Ah, okay.
So I'm pretty sure because he's founder CEO. I'm pretty sure he owns like 51% of it. So this sentence is also. And again, this one just showed that this sentence was taken essentially from a businessmodelanalyst.com. But then you have all this other fortune.com and all these other references. Yeah, it's just really, really weird.
Yeah, I've never tried using AI for search, This is like my first experience.
And sometimes you will go
It's
into sometimes it will
I don't
say
know
some sort of
how.
sentence, and you actually go to that article, and it would not be there. So I do have it
Oh,
in a live stream, like an example. But yeah, good luck.
yeah.
And you can like rank it in both. Like you can put like, dislike. I don't know why would you do it, especially if this one is giving me attitude and stuff. Like why would I? Like why? Uh,
It- it's so weird that they just give like what was it, Bard? Just gives like a like and dislike.
yeah, they're both giving
It's
you a
such a
like.
weird parameter.
Oh no, cause yeah, no, cause Bing chat will give you like and dislike, and say this one. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to discuss technology behind Big's chat one. I'll put a dislike on this one. See what it. So it just it, but I'm sure it's not actually going anywhere because it's not like in
Hmm.
social media that someone else can see it or anything like that.
Yeah.
By the way, on YouTube, interesting, which is Google as well, right? The dislike button is now,
Hmm.
so you can't see dislikes, like the number of dislikes
Yep.
for a video. I would see it, but it won't show it on the. It only shows like how many likes, but it doesn't show how many dislikes. And this one,
Uh,
obviously, it's not going anywhere. It has this vibe as if it's a social media kind of thing, but obviously, it's only for me. Like no one else will see it.
hmm
Yeah,
And
and
it's like, what
Bart,
does dislike mean?
well, yeah, I don't know, nothing. And Bart will have like a good
Yeah. It's,
response and a bad response, which is more, more like it. But
hmm
anyway, Bart seemed to be better, but it won't give you references. I can't. Maybe there's some sort of magic, magic word that you need to say. Uh,
Let's try.
I don't know what. I'm really reluctant from like talking to it like as if it was a human, as if like please give me this, or like, but because obviously there's some sort of some sort of key, like a magic word or something that you should put in for it to do what you want to do. But if you ask, does Bard ever provide what's called Bard? Yeah, Bard provides reference sources or reference. I wonder if you started asking them about the Ava. Yeah, so you see, it says yes, and yeah, you can put a. I know it calls it a code snippet. But please provide a reference for your response. So like, okay, please like, you see, it asking you to refer to it as a person, like right. So this one, okay, that's for the last response. How do I do it for the previous response?
Can you can you ask it? Does it actually hold responses in memory?
Well, I think it does. Yeah, because the bot chat, the Bing chat has a new topic. So obviously, whatever you ask it before, it will keep. And now, interestingly, it doesn't give me attitude for this question. It keeps generating stuff, as you would expect. Again, it only gave references for the first response, and then it stopped. So it didn't give any references for uh, the. And I'm sure at some stage it will start giving me a hard time. And how did it jump into MRI? And Bart says you can just ask for please provide references to your response. But can I just do this? Can I just ask for EG with references to, for your response? Yeah, this one will keep generating for, well, until I reach 20 prompts. And I think it starts like repeating itself or something. And how did it just jump into MRI? I'm pretty sure I was talking about EEG, and all of a sudden it just abandoned the EEG and started talking about MRI. That's really interesting. I'm just curious how it worked. Like, right. So now, so it does suggest that it remembers like what we were talking about before, because I asked about EEG, two questions ago,
Mm-hmm.
and now and then I asked the EEG with reference, and instead of providing like the EEG, like writing about the EEG, it just gave me the references, and it's what better health, kids health, Hopkins medicine, Mayo Clinic.
Can
Oh,
you ask it to generate a
this is
link?
so interesting. Interesting. Look, like it accessed a better health channel like today, but John Hopkins it accessed on the 8th of March. So obviously someone like asked about it on the 8th of March, and it just kept it in it in its SSD or something instead of. And yes, some of this. No, that looks legit. But yeah, it's accessed it last apparently on in March, back in March. Wait, retrieved. I don't know what's in the brackets. That's when it was retrieved. No, retrieved today. I don't know what's that date.
Can you check the date that the article is written?
I think
Oh, so
copyrighted.
interesting.
No, sometimes the date will be buried in
Yeah.
the HTML or something. No, it's okay. I suspect it got it from the website, but and I mean it's Google, so it will maybe that's when it was crawled last or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, interesting that this one just jumped to a different topic when I just kept asking for more.
I feel like Bing is acting like a slot machine. It just wants you to keep asking more and more and using up all your tokens.
I mean that I'm not paying for it or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not. This one even says I'm pretty sure I am signed in, but yeah, I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay for it. I don't think. I don't know. People swear by the Python, the Copilot, how great it is.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
I'm like,
I get it
okay,
for
if
free as a student,
all
but
right, yeah. So you tried it,
it,
yeah,
it's okay. It's okay.
right,
It's not amazing by any means, but if you have to do a process over and over again, it makes it easier.
right. Yeah, definitely asked about EEG. I keep more, and now it's talking about MRI. So I'm wondering why. What if I ask it, why are you talking about MRI and not EEG? I think it will start giving me attitude or something. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if I would have used it as well. So how good is it? Like the Copilot, like if I gave it the code in R, would it or something? Would it just transfer it into Python or something?
I don't. I heard that's what the latest version can do, but
Right,
it doesn't always give you the best code.
right,
And sometimes it's trying to predict what you want to do. So sometimes it'll predict the wrong thing. So then you're just looking at like an autofill that's essentially a waste of time most of the time.
right.
But
Yeah, now
yeah,
it's being
like maybe
apologetic. It says like apologize for any confusion. I was providing information about MRI because it was mentioned in one of my previous responses as a comparison to EEG. However, I'm happy to provide more information about EEG. Is there any okay? I'm surprised it's being polite. I thought it would say something like I don't want to talk to you anymore. And yeah, once you reach the
so
20,
what
20 tokens, it will just tell you to I think it would just say to start a new topic. Or it will start a new topic automatically or something. This is a very, yeah, I really
I'm trying to do the same thing.
long term. Yeah, I wonder if it probably give you totally different answers altogether or something. I suspect. I don't know.
I just asked it about EEG and it's just writing pages and pages.
Yeah, I'm asking about long-term EEG because that's actually what we was doing. Because when I ask how long does an EEG test takes, it just said about an hour. But I know, like in Australia, it takes. There's different, like through insurance, you can get an hour. You can get no, you can get like 20 minutes and a couple hours and 24 hours as well.
24 hours?
Yeah, they do like for epilepsy patients. They do
Ah,
intraoperative, so the patient will be in the hospital.
oh, GPT-4 says 20 to 60 minutes, but it can be extended to 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
standard thing. But yeah, we
Ah.
do in the clinic. They do like up to one week.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they build them as 5, 6, 24-hour sessions. But
Ugh.
yeah, and then and
Like,
intensive care will be different altogether as well.
ah, I can't imagine having a patient connected to an EEG device for that long and managing the person. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean it's
yeah.
more severe cases of epilepsy where because the seizures, so there will be some of the patients will only have seizures like once a year or something, but like very
Mm-hmm.
severe seizures. But then in the hospital, like sometimes you will have a patient in the hospital like for the whole week and they wouldn't have a single seizure. So essentially, so that will be even worse because you're talking. Yes, it's hard to be in the hospital for the whole week, like being monitored. But then sometimes you're being monitored and then you get no events that needed to be recorded for to help your diagnosis and stuff. So that's even. But yes, I think it mentioned it before that you can actually induce, like in the hospital, that you can induce seizures. So they like food deprive or shine bright light into patients' eyes and things like that. So, but yes, I think the worst is
Mm.
if you come for 7 days and you essentially um, no seizures. So because essentially like uh, wasted that time.
Yeah,
So they actually,
time and pain.
you want to stay there for long enough to get, the enough, essentially enough data. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, now it stopped
Oh,
giving references as well. And yeah, this word is like obviously a bit loaded topic because they call events, epileptic events, like different. They sometimes, yeah. So in this case, it used this term, spells, in quotation marks. I don't know why. And again, would be really. I would imagine this term would not be used in any more recent like publications and stuff. Because
mm,
we used to think those are like back like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, used to think that yeah, those are like magic. Was it? Someone put a spell on the person and stuff.
yeah.
But I'm interested in this case. It's using the word. It's not giving the context. I know it's a bit of a sensitive word, and it's not even giving like a reference or anything. What did Bart said? Please provide references. What is it called? Bing. Bing. Please provide references for your response. But yeah. And it's using also that word for no particular reason. Like it's not needed.
I'm-
Yeah, it really could have just stopped, put a full stop there. It's really interesting.
what does it say?
It says that my apologies for not including the references in my previous response. Information about the condition condition that long EEG recording can help diagnose comes from a publication on PubMed titled Long-Term EEG Monitor Clinical Approach to Electrophysiology. So why not give a link to it? Is it legit? Well, it sounds legit, but that's the problem with this thing, that a lot of the things, they're like very plausible, but they still might be as pay. Do they use spells in it? I'm just super curious now if they use the word spells in this publication. I can't see it in the abstract. Ah, no, they do. So
Oh,
this is from what's this? It's a weird. It's from a book or something. I think it says from 2001 Journal of Clinical Neurophysiology something. You, yeah, and yeah, and they do use the word, which I thought is like a non-recommended term, but
hmm.
yeah. And then the question
That's
is, that like
interesting.
sometimes is it just like copy pasting, or and I think yeah, it's not accessible, like it's not open access, the article, because it wants you to buy it.
Subscribe.
So in this case, so say if I take this sentence, is it like paraphrasing, or I think it could be useful for like paraphrasing things. Yeah, so that word is
Hmm.
not, that sentence is not there. Yeah, that sentence is not there. So it's paraphrased mostly. Ah, wait. Yeah, use most regularly today. Oh, did I really? did a really interesting thing. Yeah, this sentence. Yeah. So this whole sentence and the rest of it as well. Yeah, this whole thing. So like 80% of it, like 90% of this sentence is just taken directly from this abstract. But the LTM, which is long-term monitoring, it spelled it out, long-term EEG monitoring. But then the rest of this is all just taken. It's just copy pasted from the abstract of a legit article. So yeah, so if you're taking something like this in your assignment, that will be plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. There's a legal case because on one hand you would assume that you generated it because I asked, I generated the prompt and I asked for it and it generated it like just for me. But then you have to check every single sentence if it's actually, because yeah, in this case, it's that sentence just available. It just copy pasted it from. Uh, yeah, yeah, it appears in Google as well. It just comes up.
That's wild.
And then I said, oh, where are the references? And said, oh, my apologies, and this is from this publication. So yeah, you could easily think that the chatbot, that the GPT is generating this like word by word, but it didn't. It just changed the first acronym, spelled it out, and the rest is just copy pasted. So yeah, this is why this is just a really clear example why you shouldn't use it. Like as in
Yeah.
for anything real, for anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, yeah, you can use it, but I mean, don't like use it in your, uh, you know, articles you write
Reports.
or anything. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. In this
this.
case, you should have like paraphrased. I'm surprised if it's this sentence, for example. Like, can I just uh, so say if I take that sentence and I ask it to, uh, yeah, sometimes you just write the same sentence and it will just generate, like change it or generate more out of it. But yeah, so you see, yeah, you see now it's writing its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the conversation has reached its limit. Use the broom button to sweep this away and chat more. So yeah, I reached the prompt whatever limit. And what if I put this into? And bar doesn't seem to have a limit, but yeah. But in this case, it generated a management of seizures and spell. Wait. No, it's the same thing. No, it just copy pasted the same thing. Right. It's really weird. What if I put it into more creative mode? It changes the color of the background when you put it into more creative. So if I put it in more creative and give it. Yeah. So see, Bart is essentially better or worse. I don't know. And it doesn't know what to search for. Anyway, it's just bizarre. Yeah, if you put the same sentence into Bart, it says yes, this is correct, and then It says it's a valuable tool. Yeah, bots seem to be like hyper positive. Like it's like almost like like
Yeah.
it's always said, oh, it's great, it's awesome. It's like for no reason. Uh, and that diagnosing and managing variety of neurological. So it's paraphrasing that sentence. So I put that sentence from a paper, like from an abstract in a paper, and it's actually generating its own thing. So I don't know if this one if this is something you could use, like if you were to write about like an article or something. And what was that sentence this one. But please provide references for your response. Anyway, it's an endless type of activity that I'm not
Yeah,
sure if it's
wait, what did it say?
it said I'm not programmed to assist with that. So it generated all this stuff, and it's just denying, like it's just yeah, it's saying how diagnosing. It's talking. Is it talking about long-term monitoring specifically for EEG? Is it because here it's mentioning seizures, antiepileptic medication, narcolepsy, apnea. Then it's going to cardiovascular, but brain function and stroke. Yeah. No, I'm just curious if LTM is. Why did LTM would not assume would not necessarily assume EEG, would it? Or is it? Yeah, it seems like this term, the long-term monitoring, is affiliated with EEG,
Mm-hmm.
but that's yeah, it's probably because of that paper. Yeah, now it's giving like
Yeah.
that paper as this one as a reference. For some reason, we'll give references like for the first thing and then we'll stop. Why is it giving reference from Investopedia and say what is last 12
I think
months? Last 12 months. It's a term in
oh.
Investopedia for last 12 months. But interestingly, it to your question, it obviously knows what I'm asking about because it remembers our previous conversation, because I just started a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I put okay. I put, but then one of the references is from Investopedia, whatever. Anyway, and there's even a. I'm not going there. There's a ltm.org.au. It's a Lutheran tract mission. But why is it giving it to you as a reference? Yeah. Anyway, go figure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
I was
I
just
yeah.
I was just Googling LTM just to see what I would get. And I had to go down to like the fourth
I
one to get EEG monitoring.
Right. No, it's because I put the whole I thought it will just start like paraphrasing that sentence for me,
Yeah.
which it kind of did, but then it came up with all these other references that I'm not sure if they are, paraphrased or just taken directly from the article. You have to check like each sentence. But yeah.
It's weird how it went from EEG to Investopedia.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like
It's like
stock market stuff.
yeah, and it stands for last 12 months, LTM. But why is it in the references? Because the actual blurb is not mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I have to be just super careful with it. I'm just not sure. Like it seemed useful, but then the amount of time it will take to actually properly check all the all the sentences, and if it's if it's copy pasted or or not.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
now
doesn't
it's
seem
like
worth it.
yeah, it doesn't see yeah, the cost benefit like the time benefit analysis doesn't seem to be worth it unless you keep, maybe if you keep using it after a while,
Hmm.
you will get better at it or something. But yeah,
Oh, what time is it? Oh,
yeah, fun times.
all
Sorry for
right.
that. Cool,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
I
thanks
gotta
for
head
joining in.
out.
Yeah, yeah. So
No,
thanks
it
for
was
joining
really
in.
interesting.
No, it's really good. That's the intention, is to have because normally I just built the website like by myself for myself, and yeah, it's obviously much
Hmm.
better if you actually interact with someone.
Yeah,
Yeah, in general, I'm looking for feedback. Like I'm after feedback on this. Like if anyone's actually using it, so they can tell me if like what's wrong or
I'll definitely look at it.
yeah.
Don't know if I can tell
Cool.
you what's wrong.
Oh, just yeah. It's always even interesting, like how someone uses it. Like yeah, if you, because I spent like what 6 months on this, and it's just super interesting to see if someone just loads them on the. Well, it's not optimized for the phone yet. I do wanna make it better on the phone, but it's yeah, it's just because I'm testing on like a larger, this weird large screen. Um,
Hmm.
and that's why my screen is cut off in here as well, because of the
Yeah.
resolution of my screen that I use. But yeah, but I optimize for that. But it's always interesting, like how someone if someone is loading it and using it. So it's interesting to see like what they click and how long it takes for them to just you know close it and move on and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Well, you're learning about web analytics, at
yeah.
least.
Yeah,
Okay, hopefully I
cool,
can
cool.
come
Yeah,
back
thanks.
later.
Oh yeah, that's
'Cause
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
doing those
I don't.
regularly. Just don't wanna. I didn't commit to like a specific time because also I have like a 3-year old at home, so it's hard to manage.
Hmm.
Sleep or wake and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
I'm
and I'm.
regularly doing those as well. Eventually, I meant to like make them shorter videos and upload them as a separate thing, as a more cohesive like standalone thing. But it just takes forever editing videos. It's not.
Hmm.
Yeah, just a waste of time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
I know exactly how you feel.
yeah. So
Okay,
yeah, let me know.
I'll
Yeah,
talk to you
just join
later.
in. Yeah, cool, cool. Thank you for joining in.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya. Thanks. Bye. Bye. So might finish here as well. It's already super late. Uh, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm active on YouTube. Yeah, this goes onto YouTube. Already had quite a lot of subscribers, a lot of views, 4,000 views. I've had about it's my in my YouTube analytics about quite a lot of watch hours, like 300, almost 300 hours or so of watch time. So that's awesome. And yeah, eventually I'll make shorter videos as well. It's just yeah, as I was saying, it's takes a lot of time editing, but I'll hopefully get to it soon. So please subscribe, and we will talk soon. Chat soon. Bye.